Thank you very much. And it's a pleasure to be here. It's my first TechTO speaking event. I was not expecting such a gigantic crowd, so it's very humbling. As Alec mentioned, I'm the General Manager of Canada and Asia Pacific with Cogeco Pier 1. We are a Toronto headquartered global technology company. We've got 16 data centers worldwide. I have spent the last 18 years in technology in Toronto, and I gotta tell you, it is a very exciting place to be, certainly more so over the last few years. I'm sure somebody tonight's gonna talk about us surpassing job creation in Toronto versus Silicon Valley, which is huge, and super exciting. So I didn't get a clicker lesson. Oh, there we go, we can see my slides here. So the first thing I want to talk about was the growth of data, and why the growth of data is so important is because it's fueling the tech buzz that we have in Canada right now. So this growth of data is fueling AI, it's fueling quant, it's fueling machine learning, and we are absolutely ripe to take advantage of it, and we've seen it so far in Canada, coming out of our incubators in Toronto and Vancouver and Montreal. We're creating the jobs on the back of this data explosion, which is absolutely phenomenal. And we're lucky to have a government that funds these programs for growth, for development, for incubation. And that's really a part of how we're all here tonight. So very, very thankful to be Canadian at this juncture in this industry. However, this is the wah-wah part of my 5 minutes, which is as a female leader in technology, there are not enough female leaders in technology, and that is not just a Canadian statement, that's a global statement. But for those of you that don't know, McKinsey recently released a study projecting that if men and women participated equally in the economy, it could add $28 trillion US to global GDP by 2025. That is an absolutely shocking statistic. Women make up 27% of the ICT workforce in Canada today. The depressing part of that is that's down from 30% in 2011. So for me, having the opportunity to speak to an audience like this, in part is to remind everybody that to develop companies early that have diversity, that have equal representation is critically important in order to help fuel success and to fuel innovation and balance in our economy in Canada and ultimately globally. Also sadly today, just 5% of Canadian tech CEOs are women. This study came out earlier this year from Mars and Move the Dial and PwC. The corollary to this was only 13% of the pure tech workforce in Canada today is women. So we have to do better. There are tons of ways that we can improve this statistic, and part of it is just recognizing it. Recognizing that we have to have a focus on equality, that equality, not just of gender, but across the board. If we're not representing the economies, the consumers that we're serving, we're doing a disservice to our company. This is some of the stats that back it up. Businesses with more women in management positions are better able to shift business focus from short-term profit to long-term goals. Women leaders are statistically stronger at shifting towards that long-term growth, and companies with higher gender equality outperform those without by 11%. So ultimately, it is purely good for the bottom line, and there's no better place to start building a diverse and balanced team than in the early days of your company's creation. And in Canada, we have a wealth of balanced talent coming out of all of our universities, our incubators. The talent is there. The onus is on us as technology leaders and technology companies to make sure we're looking for it and we're doing the right things to attract it. So part of it is changing the way that we're thinking about hiring. So technical tasks are increasingly automated. There is more relevance on EQ than IQ or traditional technical skills. We need to think about that when we're doing hiring. Google recently released a study where they analyzed their high potential talent across Google. And what they found was of the top 10 skills that they have in that top talent pool, 8 of them were EQ-based versus IQ-based or technical skill-based. So really looking at who you want to bring into the talent or into your company, into your organization, and what they can bring to the talent pool and really to what you're taking to market outside of just pure tech skills. Because ultimately, those technical skills need to be refreshed on a regular basis. They don't necessarily directly correlate to long-term value in your organization as a whole. So really just committing yourself to looking strategically at your hiring decisions and doing it early. And ultimately, making sure that we're building the best possible technology industry we can in Canada, not just for now, but for the long term, and taking advantage of the incredible talent and resources that we have here in this country. Thank you very much. And questions?
I'm going to jump the gun and start with the first one. It's me, Alex, right in the front.
Oh, sorry. Hi, Alex.
So if you could challenge everyone in this room to do one thing different tomorrow, it could be a small thing, a big thing, what should they do when they wake up and go to work, or just don't go to work, or what can everyone in this room do?
I mean, go to work. Definitely start by going to work.
Well,
start by going to work, and then think about it. You put a lens on your organization that says, do I have a diverse mix across all spectrums? And if you don't, then figure out how to challenge yourself to solve for that short-term versus long-term. If you're a larger company, I would challenge yourself to look at your gender pay gap, look at your statistics. I mean, we're all tech people in this room. We all have some sort of a STEM background. The data doesn't lie. The math doesn't lie. Start by looking at your data.
Hey, just over here. I was just wondering, what is Cogeco doing to help with this diversification?
Actually, we're very, very blessed at Cogeco Pier 1. We have 3 general managers worldwide. All 3 are women. We just announced our new global CEO is a woman. What's up? So that's incredibly positive. We've got a number of programs, not atypical from what you would normally see. We've got employee engagement programs. We've got forums. We've got a lens in our HR community, making sure we're looking at diverse slates of candidates. I would tell you that having female executives in your boardroom is a really, really good start, because ultimately people are looking for role models. They're looking to join companies where they can see themselves or a future version of themselves there. And you're going to really struggle if you've got an all-male boardroom, an all-male C-suite, and you're trying to hire a bunch of women. Nobody wants to be the token. Nobody wants to be the first one in thinking that they're just there because they're a woman. You kind of have to really do the hard work and give them role models, give them a reason to believe that you're actually interested in driving innovation and diversity in that conversation.
A question over here on your right.
Hi.
Thank you so much for your presentation. It's great to have someone talk about the gendered elephant in the room. I was going to ask how you sort of overcame difficulties and got to exactly where you are, which is amazing, personally.
Pure naivety. I'm from Belleville, a very small town. Getting out of Belleville was my number one priority. I had no clue about what I was going to do for an actual living. And then I just stumbled into tech because I loved computers. I was just one of those nerd girls that played the Commodore 64. I was really into Summer Olympics and coding, where the Commodore 64 would say, "My name is Jaime," over and over again, but it took me like 4 hours to code that. So my nerdiness got me into tech. I didn't know there was a gender barrier because I didn't know anything. And then I just kept working, and honestly, I was 10 years into my career working for IBM when I realized I was more senior and there were less people, there were less women, there were less people that looked like me. And I found a few mentors, a few female executives that also had families and were living a life that I felt like I could see myself living. So really that role modeling was a big part of it, and finding people that I could aspire to ultimately become. But I just didn't know any better till it was too late, and I was totally addicted to tech, and I demanded an executive career path, and I found people to help. And if anyone wants help, I'm on LinkedIn. There you go. Yes. Happy to help.
Well, last question.
Hi, hello. To your left.
Left. Hi.
Do you have any advice for women in tech that want to start to break the first barrier to get into this man world and how to get noticed and respected?
I have a lot of advice. That's like probably half a bottle of wine right there. Don't get scared off. It is hard sledding, and there aren't enough of us. So you do have to work hard. You have to keep pushing. You have to keep fighting. Do not give up. There is no more rewarding career in 2018, and certainly for the future, than in technology. We need female voices. We have to stay here. We have to be committed to this industry. And honestly, where else are you going to go? Every industry is tech today. So don't let pure tech scare you into fringe tech, because it's all tech.
Thank
Passionate
you.
advice. Sorry.
Love it.
Thank you.